So thank you very much. Good afternoon to all of you. I'm really happy to be here at NUS. The topic of my talk today is powering pro bono, but I think before this, I just want to say a little bit about myself. So I like travel. This is me above the Machu Picchu in Peru on a hill that's higher than the Machu Picchu, so about 2,700 meters above sea level. So I like to travel to explore, to find new things, and to push my own boundaries. I want to do some good because I think over the years that I've been born, I think a lot of people, a lot of organizations have given me a lot, and I want to pay it forward and to really do something that contributes to a betterment of society. And I would like to do good by thinking outside the box, literally. So I'm going to move outside the circle. And I like music, so I think you're going to find it out over the next few slides and over my presentation. So why all about that bass? Because when I was younger, somebody nicknamed me bass because my voice could go very low. So that's why it's all about that bass. But anyway, today I'll be sharing a little bit about the topic of pro bono. So I think what we see is really impactful and tangible way to do good. So the times really are changing. So social needs are getting more complex. We've got, by 2030, our elderly population is going to triple in size, and 1 in every 5 residents is going to be above the age of 65. We're also dealing with other social challenges, for example, mental health, access to sanitation, superbugs, and all of these different challenges that are coming in over the next few years and few decades, right? At the same time, you see all sorts of amazing innovations coming up. You see things like when I was born, we had pagers. Now we've got iPhones and Androids, right? We've got the bionic legs that we were seeing just now. We've got all sorts of innovations coming in. We've got health. We map out the entire sequence of the human genome. At the same time, access to all of this is not equal. So just a step for you. Singapore's internet penetration rate is what? Some of you might think it's 100%. No, it's actually about 73% only. So internet, something that we often take for granted in our daily lives. The penetration rate in Singapore is 73%. What happens to the other 27%? So how can we spread access of all these innovations to meet social needs to the people and organizations who need them? So to pose the question, how do we do good better together? So how do we do good in a sense? I mean, all of you all have probably done volunteering at some point in your lives before. I think for people who have gone through the Singapore school system, you all have done what is fondly remembered as the community volunteering program, CIP. So I think all of us have done community service before, but the question is, how do we do it in a more effective way? And how do we do it in a way that meets the needs of the social sector in Singapore? So introducing pro bono. I'm just going to share a little bit of this concept of pro bono. So pro bono essentially leverages on the skills and the competencies of individuals. And they take these skills and they take these competencies and they donate them to social change organizations which want to do good at little or no cost. So this really brings in a concept where you take the skills that you have, any individual, whether you're a student, whether you're a professional, you take these skills and you make use of them in a way that benefits a social change organization. And this basically makes the service and the skill accessible to the professional. This makes it accessible to the organization. This makes them able to get these skills where they normally wouldn't be able to pay for them. So think about it, just providing some examples. For consultants, imagine that you could do strategic planning for social good organization, helping them to push their strategic plans forward. For finance people, they could help to ensure that the organization is financially sustainable. It could help them to ensure that their operations are impactful and efficient. For marketing majors, it could be that you're designing a killer marketing campaign for the social good organization to brand itself. For IT students, it could be building a killer website. So all these are different examples, really, of skills coming together to help organizations which need them. And in turn, these organizations can better benefit their beneficiaries as well. Yep. So, anyone really can do pro bono just the way you are. So it's about bringing together your heart and your skills and making sure that you can come together and create impact together. Because when you combine your impact together with others, nobody is good at everything, right? I'm sure some of you are better than me in math, for example. Some of you are better than me in computer or coding skills. So it's really about combining the different skills that everybody has to make sure that you create impact that is greater than the sum of your parts. So think about it. If you had a very good donor management plan that was proposed by some marketing majors, combined with a good financial sustainability plan, and combined with a good strategic plan, wouldn't it be great for a social good organization to come in and really build that change together? So coming together, pro bono is not really just a one-way street. It's not just giving your skills to a social good organization and then leaving after that. I think pro bono is really a two-way street because as you volunteer, as you contribute your skills, you really connect with like-minded people. You connect with like-minded people who might have different skills, but at the same time, they are also united in the pursuit of doing good, and at the same time, you want them to be able to bring together all these different skills and find common friends together. The second thing, you also learn beyond your job or the major they are studying to make sure that you see a different side of things, that by contributing your skills to the social organization, you see a different dimension of how your skills can be applied, not just, say, for example, for making profit, or not just, for example, getting good grades, but actually making a tangible difference for society. And really going back to my point about innovation, this is where your skills and your talents bring innovation to where it is needed. So coming together to bring innovation to where it's needed, that's what pro bono is about, right? So I'm just going to share a little bit with you about, so where did all the good people go, though? Because pro bono itself, just a simple word, it doesn't come together by itself. So, for example, social good organizations might say, we want to translate the challenges, but we need somebody to do it for us in a way that's accessible to individuals who want to do good. At the same time, individuals might also not be ready to jump straight into dealing with social good organizations themselves. So I think recently we've seen the rise of what we call intermediaries. So these are organizations that mobilize pro bono, they organize and they convene individuals who want to give their skills back to society. By virtue of this organization and this convening, they make sure that these individuals can come together and deliver the skills where they are most needed. So I'm just going to share with you a little bit of, about my intermediary, Conjunct Consulting, which we co-founded in 2011. So this is our logo. Our motto is strategy with heart. So making sure that we have strategy and the skills, but at the same time doing it with heart. So the two circles over there really representing the coming together of individuals who want to do good and the organizations who want to receive this help in order to perform even better for their beneficiaries. If you look closely out there, you actually see, if you look closely at the logo, you actually see two speech bubbles. So they represent the two-way conversation going on. So our mission really is to engage, mobilize, and empower pro bono talent to support social good organizations. This was what we were set up for, and this was what basically we want to do in bringing together the talents of different people, whether students, whether professionals, whether organizations, we want them to come together and create this impact. Yeah. So we actually started the fire on this one because me and my co-founder 4 years ago, we came back from overseas and we wanted to try and find an organization where we could give skills back. But we couldn't, after going around, we couldn't really find an organization who was an intermediary who were convening these kind of skills-based volunteers and wanted to be able to give these skills back. So we had some conversations, we ate some kaya toast, and we had some kopi, and then we decided one day, probably against our better wisdom then, just to, let's give it a shot and see how this plays out. So let's form our own organization to be an intermediary, to convene skills-based volunteers, to try and find other people within Singapore who had that passion to give their skills back to society in an impactful way, and then give it a shot and see how that goes. So it was not always a smooth ride at the start because we faced all sorts of questions. Two young people at 24 starting this organization and seeing what happens. So 99 plus problems, it's one of them. So was conjunct similar to conjunctivitis? So this was one of the questions that actually somebody asked us. So was this something that we were representing? Another question they asked us was, given that you're so inexperienced, would you be able to help the social sector with people coming in there being 20 years, 30 years of experience? So how would you value add to the sector? And I think our answer was really just to give us a try, see how that goes. That is because we are volunteers who are dedicated to giving our skills back to society, and the proof would be in the pudding from the results. So what we did was we just started. This picture is of my co-founder. At our very first info session back in August 2011, we designed a slide deck illustrating our concept for Conjunct Consulting, and we organized an info session where 30 people showed up. And when the 30 people showed up, after we explained the info session to them, we were left with 8 people. But these 8 people became our core team of volunteers, which started Conjunct Consulting. And today, we've trained and employed over 400 volunteers in the sector. So this is a picture of one of the case camps where students, just like yourself, they came together, they started training in social sector skills, and then they're going out to be deployed for the good of the sector. Yep. So really, in a sense, this illustrates how people can come together and try to create impact. And we've done a few things since the 3.5 years that we've done. We've done 62 pro bono projects across 48 nonprofits. We've done 4 corporate Skillton, so we've worked with 4 corporates, MNCs across Singapore to try and bring together corporate employees to design solutions for nonprofits as well. So as Annie mentioned just now, we've deployed over $1 million of social impact per year. And just to give you an example of what we've done, one of the nonprofits that we helped was Dayspring, which was a center for caring for adolescent girls who are the victims of abuse. So prior to engaging Conjunct, Dayspring did not have any corporate support or corporate donations, and were looking for a plan to increase their financial sustainability. Dayspring engaged Conjunct in late 2013, and after working on strategic partnership with Conjunct, as well as developing plans, they doubled the amount of fundraising that they had over the next year. So we bring in skills and expertise from the financial as well as consulting sectors, basically try to help them to double their financial fundraising target over 1 year. So I think that's one of the illustrations of impact, and these were a team of students and professionals that came together. So these were 5 students, 2 professionals. They came together, they didn't know each other beforehand, but I think what unified them was the desire to give back. So that was an example of how they could do concrete change for the sector. So we've only just begun. We're 3.5 years old. We are poised to create greater impact. That's actually a photo of the president trying to do our Conjunct logo when we won a commendation award at the President's Challenge Social Enterprise Awards. But honestly, it's really not about the post pictures or the press releases or being invited to speak at TEDx Talks. So it's really not about that. It's really, I think, at the end of the day, about simple things. It's about simple things, about the people coming together to create impact and having a heart to do so. So this is one of our most recent photos of volunteers at the project. I like this photo very much because it shows students coming together, students like many of the students in this room coming together. We have professionals who are there to guide and mentor the students as to deliver impact. And at the same time, we have nonprofit leaders down there who want to be able to advance their organizations further and are willing to make use of volunteers to help them. So I think it's this confluence of factors, I think, that really makes social impact possible. And I think this is something that anybody can do, and anybody can come together in pro bono to create a huge difference for the sector. So imagine, right? This is a quote by Arthur Ashe. From what I get, I can make a living. From what I give, I can make a life. So this, I think, is really the core concept of pro bono. What can you give today that will make another life possible and will make another life better? Thank you very much.